when you have kids, you both will realize this, right? You'll be working, you'll come home, they'll be like, that's it.
To say quiet,
like you missed it. Are you in a serious relationship?
That's a tough question to ask. Yes, I am. Are you asking me, do I have a girlfriend? Yes, I do have a girlfriend. Wow. That's such a modern man question. Yes, I am in a relationship. And it is serious.
I'm sitting here, you guys talking about a good old razzle.
A good old
I'm like, you non-married motherfucker.
yeah.
Don't do this. Don't be the guy. I am not the guy who's going to account for your marriage. You said, what did you say on the show? The views expressed in that last line are his and his alone.
Reaction from the shit. Incoming message. The Modern Man Podcast.
Okay, welcome back. Again, welcome back to The Modern Man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful Tuesday. It is a beautiful space we are in. I am with two very beautiful men right now. And today is going to be a great episode. We are sitting with the co-owner of The Royale, the space that we are in right now.
Yes,
the co-founder of Until, the wildest events out there.
Yeah.
And you're a host on also another podcast.
Yeah, I got a basketball podcast as well called The Fast Break. So, apparently a busy individual. Apparently.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sandile Shangase, also known
Shaz, LNS, but just Shaz. My mom hates it, but it's a childhood nickname that just stuck. So
it's a very dope nickname, I must say, bro.
It's just a nickname.
Okay, so we're going to open up with a question that we're going to start with now. We're going for recurring guests, but this is you're our test dummy today, bro.
Sweet, let's go.
So, in your opinion, what does it mean to be a modern man?
Whoa, that is a deep question. What does it mean to be a modern man? That's a great question. One that can define their own journey and trajectory. I think that's very important. We live in such a malleable space, or a space where you can really differentiate who you are. The modern man is the guy who takes chances, a risk taker, believes the world is their oyster, and is a go-getter. So I'm like a pageant queen right now. Yeah, I think it really is about chasing your own destiny. That's the modern man. That's what I really believe the modern man is. Yeah.
That was such a beautiful fucking...
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Hey, I give it up to him for coming up with the question and that for an answer. So I don't even need to be in this podcast anymore.
I think it was a beautiful answer. It ended off on destiny.
Yeah.
When last have you heard that word, man?
Yeah, it's...
I know a girl named Destiny.
like the Malika song. That's crazy. Let's go. Sorry. I think it's because now I've been doing this for a decade, and it's that type of question is something that I probably have been sitting on for a while now and asking what makes me, especially in this space. So yeah, you guys triggered that great answer. Shout out to you, Benny. We've got an hour of great questions going on. No pressure. Let's go.
Man, tell us now about this place, bro. What is special about the Royale over here? What made you get into this kind of business?
These things always are chance, man. We were here because we know the previous owners really well. We were just here. We'd just come on COVID. And they were looking to sell. And we were like, why? Then I said, let me not ask why. We're willing to buy. And, over the years, we've been hoarders of money. So, which our tax guy is going to hate, but we've been hoarders of money, and we had the opportunity to buy the space. And we've always wanted to grow and develop in just all our businesses holistically, So outside of our pure events business, we've got a marketing agency. So this was one of our dreams, to open up our own hospitality space. And hopefully, in the next year, there'll be another ideation of another passion project in this, in this environment. So luck, but luck is what you make it, and you make your own luck. So
yeah.
That's what I believe in. So yeah, that's the journey of buying the Royale. And we've been here. This is year 2, and can't complain just yet.
Okay, bro. And tell us more about this group that you guys have, bro. So it's Until, the Royale. What I think it's called 10 Media Group.
10 Media Group.
10 Media Group. I mean, you guys have some crazy people that you work with, bro.
Yeah.
Like, none of them are small names. None of them are, you really shoot for the stars here, bro.
So, that question is always, because I've had to answer it 100 times over the years, is we started off as kids. I don't want to reveal my age, but I will. I've been doing this for a decade, and I'm 33 years old this year. So we met in varsity, and we just wanted to throw one dope event. And the offspring of that is that, you get addicted to it. You meet incredible people. So we started, there was 10 of us. That's why it was called 10 Media Group. And I didn't realize back then that you needed a company to get sponsorship. And SAB had sponsorship for us, and I didn't have a company.
Register.
So we had to just okay, everybody bring their IDs. I mean, we were kids. So,
Yeah.
So 10 Media Group, because there were 10 of us. There are only 5 of us now, which is another question I know you're going to probably want to ask later on.
Well, now I am.
And that was how it started. That was the inception. And then from that, like I said, life and experiences teaches you that you need to pivot. And I think COVID is probably our biggest learning curve. We couldn't just be one thing. So we were lucky to work with great brands who were looking for more, creative solutions, more strategic work, more, marketing work. And we realized that in our pool of friends, we actually have all these expertise. So, we had a strategist at the time, and we still have a strategist at the time. Long questions.
So Shaz, you started at 23, right?
Yeah.
At that age or at that time, a lot of people have this struggle today, trying to figure out or not being able to figure out their passion, right? And clearly you're a passionate guy. At 23 years old, did you know exactly what you wanted to do?
I'm allowed to swear on this.
How did it
Yeah, I
happen?
swear, bro.
Thank you. Sorry. At 23, did I know? Is that the question?
Yeah, I
Did I
mean,
know?
take it through. Was it
just-
all worked out?
Did
Man.
it just click for you, bro?
It didn't click. A lot of these things are they're just fucking luck, man.
Exactly.
When
But
we
what
did
is,
it,
what is like, what preparation meets opportunity?
yeah, but I
Well,
don't
but
think
were you prepared at 23 is
Yeah,
really...
that's true.
No, man, this version of myself
Exactly.
is different than the 23-year-old one. That guy just wanted to drink, wanted to meet girls, I wanted to party. That was it. Everything else was sorted. I was still studying my LLB. I finished my LLB. Thank you, Mom.
You're doing your master's now, eh?
I finished that.
Wow. Master's at law, huh?
Oh my God. It's just, I've lived so many different lives. I was an attorney once in my life.
What?
Did my articles at Harvard
yeah?
levels. Yeah. So at 23, you're really trying to figure it out. You're naive. You think everything is going to happen and you're just chasing. You don't even have the dream.
So
it just makes sense.
So you stepped away from attorney to go into entrepreneurship,
It's,
right?
did I step away or did I just force somebody's hand?
Yeah.
So when I was 23, I was in third year at Vert. Third year, we had just done our first event. We just made a little bit of money. We blew it all at the club. Mm-hmm. There was no profits. There was no
I
spreadsheet.
get that, yeah.
We blew it all at the club. And I said, this is cool. It didn't feel like work, Obviously, it started feeling like work later on. But at 23, you always follow what, your parents tell you to do. Go to varsity, go get a degree. And then,
Get the stable
you
job.
will feel how it works out for you. You can make these risks as you become older. So I did my articles. I did my postgrad before I did my articles. I did my articles in 2015. Hated it. It just didn't speak to me, And I think, being that young, at 25, you really don't know much about the world, and you shouldn't let people box you in. And luckily, I'm such a rebellious spirit that, I felt that this could work. But I also knew the risks of telling my parents, I'm out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been emotional, 2 years of articles, and I was just like, I hated what I did.
But you got something out of it?
Yeah. I mean, corporate is it's a very important tool in entrepreneurship, and I only have that, knowledge now, is that it sharpens the tools that you naturally have, So there's a lot of people I met in corporate that, to this day still support me, and I thank them a lot. I'm a serial seeker of knowledge. So even in this business as well, I've got, tons of mentors that I bother. You interviewed Ricardo a while back. Ricardo da Costa is
I was
like,
about to say, you guys are like nearly same WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
You're in the
Nearly
happiness
same
business,
WhatsApp
bro.
Ricardo is like,
Yeah, that's an OG, eh?
Ricardo's like a legend. So I always
Yeah.
when I speak about him, soul candy.
Yeah.
Mikasa.
You don't get anything.
and he's got time for people. If you ask for knowledge, he'll give it to you. So I always tell people, try to surround yourself with mentors. They'll always give you knowledge outside of him. People like Teresho who wants Opi Kopi. You know, a lot of people that I got knowledge from, and I was lucky. So to answer your question, I talk a lot. Sorry, you have to understand that. It was a journey. And at 23, I knew nothing. And at 33, I still don't feel like I know a lot. And I think that's what's kept me, you know, hunger to learn more. So
Always be learning.
always be learning.
what's the saying?
Here's a question. That's the same.
Always
bro.
learning, man.
You got to bring this up every
time.
podcast.
Nabila is the best.
Every podcast.
If you're not always willing to learn, then you're just a dick.
This is not sorry to throw that's not throwing you off, right? Sorry. You'll clear that
So
in
it's good.
post.
You'll fix it in post.
So here's one.
Yeah.
You said earlier that at the time it didn't feel like this was a job, right?
Yeah.
And then it started to feel like work. The question is, does it feel like work today?
You know, the crazy part, it has to. Because as you get older, you know, you got to start taking care of things in your life, you know.
Yeah.
And
You got the responsibilities. And
it has to be a balance, you know. I believe that I was always destined to be an entrepreneur, you know. It fell into my lap at the right time. But then I started to respect it. That's why it feels like work, you know. The work doesn't necessarily have to be negative, you know. People put in work in various different ways. And once you treat something like work, sometimes you give it the respect. It doesn't have to feel like a traditional burden of work. So my job, you know, and also I had to respect it and call it a job. Because sometimes being passionate about things, you don't give it the true respect. So I wake up at 9 o'clock, do my work. Even though my work fuels my passion, I have to give it the respect it deserves. So this is work, but it's great work. I would never do anything else, you know. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to put on a suit and wear a tie and go back to corporate.
Well, I mean, you've used that word destiny twice
Yep.
already, and your answer, it sounds like if you partner destiny with your answer, what you're saying sounds like you got to make it a part of who you are and embrace
You
it.
have to.
yeah.
Right?
It's difficult because I work with my best friends. So
That must be difficult, bro. Like,
just to go back to that one, passion is very important. I think it fulfills you. You know, there are a lot of people who work till they're 65 and only get fulfilled later on, which is insane. Which I always thought, you know,
Retirement's
I
crazy.
can't wait till I'm 65 for me to start enjoying my life. And that was one of my biggest challenges when I was doing my articles, because there was days I hated it. And passion is probably the biggest thing that, you know, when it's cold outside and you have to kind of do setup and, you know, those are the things that get you up. It's either that or I could go back to wearing a suit and drafting contracts. And I never want to do that ever again. I can read them with the best of them, but yeah, that is hard. That is hard.
So working with friends,
Oh my God.
right? I mean, and I'd like your advice here because for the first time ever, I'm doing something new in a space that I haven't been in before, which is opening up a coffee shop
Yeah.
with friends. And I mean, we're opening this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm already feeling that whole, thanks, bro.
Congratulations, my G.
I mean, it's crossed my mind before of this motherfucker,
Fuck, it's tough.
right? Now, you get it.
That's the mind every time. It's this motherfucker.
And because he's your friend, right?
Yeah,
And,
For sure.
What? How?
What's up?
You know, that's a great question. It doesn't have to be complicated. How?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness. Like I said, like a lot of these things I have to reflect back because there's like,
We're all kind of in the same boat here. So I'm very keen to like learn.
so, you know, like everybody's life, you mature, you get to things, you get to different stages in your life, and it's difficult because you have to kind of separate the friendship from the business, which is an everyday struggle. Oof, it's an everyday struggle. Oof, because you're your own, back in the day, you're your own HR, you're your own conflict management, you're your own, like, I know better, she knows better, he knows better. But you've always got to have, you know, a north light, you know. So for us, I'm lucky. We started this business as kids, so it's easier to navigate those ebbs and flows because the first thing we wanted to do is like, we want to get enough money to show our parents that we can do this. Then it becomes, well, we need to get enough money to move out of home. Needs to get enough money to pay off everybody's cars and live comfortably. Needs to get enough money for us to be able to travel. And, you know, when you start hitting those things, the challenges get different. So I think now, like, we grown adults and, like, people are settling down, people, in stable relationships, and what we wanted isn't necessarily a group one. So there's a lot of managing of individual egos, individual goals, characters, but our main drive has always been, can we leave a legacy? Can we, if my sister wanted to be a creative, can I just put her in? I don't know, she doesn't have to go through this whole corporate experience of 100,000 interviews, and that has always been our North Star, to leave a legacy project behind, So, is it difficult? Very. Do I recommend it? Hell no.
Danny said the same thing, bro.
I would never, if I knew what I knew now, it is the hardest thing to manage because we're friends, so our fights get deep.
Because they hit you on like a personal level. Yeah. So the conversation is like, when you have a fight, I mean, we were all in corporate.
Should we just stop for a second?
Yeah. No.
I don't mind. Yeah, that's a tough question. A friend one. I was thinking about it this morning. I said he's going to ask me this question. I've got to think about, I've been into some ugly fights, man. Ugly fights because you fight.
I mean, I'll tell you what I've given it some thought because I do that. I try to reflect every day, and this is through the past decade of business in general, right? Of the lone wolf, and just like when it's just one thing to control, which is yourself.
Yep.
You reflect a lot,
Yeah.
and you think about your partners, acquaintances, and everybody involved in helping you to success. Because it never is.
Yeah.
There's a solid disclaimer. It never is only you, even if it is you.
100%.
So this habit of mine, I just before I go to bed. It's the easiest way to do it. Every day, just account, put it in bed, sleep on it, and...
Sorry, 1 second.
We'll fix it in post.
Please fix that in post. I'm actually a really nice person.
Yeah.
Don't gently speak to people like that. Sorry.
Motherfucker!
Yeah, I know. Because, it must be difficult working with friends consistently.
I'd never change it,
It's your bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's every day you guys are on the same grind all together as a team.
Yeah.
But because you're friends and you know each other on a personal level, I feel like that is like me with my sister because we work together in the same business. You can say what you want and there's very little repercussions afterwards in that sense because you're not going to get taken to HR. It's your business. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
we had to change.
You can dig a little bit deeper into it, which is obviously toxic. It's not a great idea, But sometimes you just can't help yourself because do they not infuriate you more? Because it's your friend.
It's the tough, that question's always difficult. I would never change it. I mean, the journey itself, it's been incredible. We realized that we had to change when we started getting employees. So we were a very vocal bunch. We were a very vocal bunch, right? And we could hash things out. Yeah. But when you get people around you, kind of gotta say actually, let's talk about this
Later.
outside later. And it's conflict management, Big businesses also started at some point, Mm-hmm. So, the one thing I had to learn is not to be super critical. We are people at the end of the day. We are growing. And we always trying to learn how to deal with conflict management. So that's the main thing in working with your friends, is conflict management. And also trying not to bring in any of your problems.
Personal problems.
Into the business.
Are you in a serious relationship?
That's a tough question to ask. Yes, I am. Are you asking me, do I have a girlfriend? Yes, I do have a girlfriend. Wow. That's such a modern man question. Yes, I am in a relationship. And it is serious.
No, because I'm just thinking out loud, right? Starting from why I asked the question, right? So I'm married. This year will be 9 years, right?
That's crazy. Congratulations.
And I'm just, thanks, bro.
Congratulations.
And it's your age?
9 years.
Yeah.
You got married at 24.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've got so many questions for you.
Ask them, bro.
How did you...
Figure that out.
It's difficult, man. I mean... I'm going to ask outside of my personal business. My parents are divorced, and I always wonder how you keep on, making it work every fucking day.
For years.
So this is actually what I was going to bring up in terms of a potential solution to this question that I'm dealing with. The truth is, how you make it work is you have to just communicate. So I've always been that type of person. I had to learn to be this type of person. Is if as soon as I have an inkling of a problem, I address it. Because it's small, it may be awkward, but it's still small.
Yeah.
So you can tell me you read too much about it, you misrepresented it. I can come back and go, well, maybe I didn't. And then you see some random baggage, and you'll find this if you're practicing it, that you've been holding on to that you've told yourself you haven't. And you go, oh yeah, but what about that thing? And then they welcome,
yes, for sure.
if you create that environment of just bringing it up and unpacking it and just sitting down, because the truth is, I've had 3 major fights with my wife in 9 years, and all of them have been resolved in 2 to 3 hours.
Of just hashing it out.
Sit down and let's go. Back, forward, childish,
Don't hold
whatever
back,
you want to
don't hold
talk.
back. I
Because
actually
the
get
truth
that.
is,
Yeah,
if you are a team, and that is what you are, 2 individuals on a team, and that, I think, we were on Facebook, on Andrew's group, and talking about that.
Yeah.
Andrew, our latest guest, he runs that group.
last week.
Last week,
And,
Shout out, Andrew.
yeah, shout out Andrew. And it comes down to that,
It's
right?
a great insight, right? I think, because it's relationship management either way, So you've taught me something. I need to just address things head on. But I think manners of communication and way you communicate are very important. I think we've struggled with it a lot. Because like I said, we're very close. So like,
Well, if we're a team, we're a team,
an
right?
F-bomb can F-bomb, an F-bomb can F-bomb, can F-bomb, can F-bomb, can F-bomb. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it was, but we're growing, we've always grown as individuals and just said, let's try to keep, our professionalism at the end of the day. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very
I like
But
what you
also
said there,
the last point is
Yeah.
you don't expect at the end of all of it to have everyone on the same page. You
this
can
was gonna be
still
so
agree to
therapeutic.
disagree.
Dude, why don't we don't pay for therapy, bro? That's why we should.
Oh man, this is so therapeutic. I'm gonna use
facts.
that. I'm gonna use that.
It's cheaper than going to therapy.
And congratulations on your 9 years.
No, thanks, bro.
Your wife is very, very important.
Because I was actually what you said there about being 2 individuals in a team. I mean, even if it's just not 2 and it's not a relationship, but as you say, like a team working with your people, you got to think of it as you guys as a team are not fighting one another. You're fighting the problem.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on fighting each other, you fight what the actual problem is. You figure that out,
That's
what
it.
the actual issue is, and then you sort it out.
I mean, think about
It's a lot easier
most
instead of
expectations
attacking other people. Yeah.
are born in the fact that one person wants to lead. The truth is, all we can control is ourselves. So if you
Yeah.
focus on you,
That's true.
That is crazy.
then you have nothing else to worry about, and you can fact check your teammate, but you can't control or tell or so on.
Yeah.
And I imagine, I suppose, in business, it extends to your friend or friends that are now involved in business. What's the team would be the business, right? The vision. The destiny would be an individual consideration. The sharing would be, especially in the exciting times. I'm unpacking this live, so
I'm digesting everything you've been trying to say. Jeez, it got deep very quickly.
I mean, if you just think of it as life, right? If we're existing, all our good shit that we talk about is also part of the conflict resolution because it's the good side of the coin. You'll get the other side of the coin, which is still the same coin, and I mean.
It's as important.
I mean, because I don't think don't take it personal and those generic advices mean much these days because
Nothing. Because I'm going to take it personal. That's who I am.
Especially if you tell me not to.
Sometimes, fuck. No, man, that's crazy, man. And it's something that, as I get older, because I'm an emotional human being, so I take things like a lot too hard. But it's something that I've had to learn to separate myself from. Sometimes about the problem, it's not necessarily about me. And I shouldn't make it about me the whole time. So that's...
It's easier to say
that was
than
deep.
done,
I didn't expect it to get so deep. I need a tissue, guys. Please don't.
No problem, bro.
Need a tissue.
shall we take this moment to do an ad break for Oasis Water Boxburg? Well, that was the ad. Now we're done. Now I'm joking.
Okay. Drink Oasis water. No, we'll do a proper one. I actually have to write a script for something like that, bro. But this is good. I like this. Very well done. You're killing it, mate.
Thanks, bro. Like this. So I must do more of this, you say.
I like where we go. That was crazy advice,
No, thanks, bro. I mean,
Okay, wait. So don't touch the mics is what you're saying.
I mean, I learned some shit here as well, right?
Sometimes
The
it
truth
happens just fucking naturally. I'm not gonna lie. The first podcast I realized I just fucking held this thing like this.
Like a fucking rapper.
Yeah. 'Cause I was so nervous yesterday. I was shaking like a little.
So dope. That was a crazy insight. I'm gonna use that. I didn't expect that.
use it or lose it.
Yeah, learn every day. Where we at now?
Bro, I wanted to ask you a question. Sorry, you said something earlier and I didn't get to ask it. Bro. How was that conversation with your parents about now?
Terrible.
Like they obviously, I'm guessing they paid for you to do all of that, bro.
Yeah.
And you did so many years, and then you just said thank you. But yeah, I'm not gonna use this again, bro. Not that you're not gonna, but you're not going into that thing. That must have been a difficult conversation.
It's our parents are from a different generation. As parents of color, their only ideas of a profession is doctor, accountant, lawyer. So I'm telling you the truth, yo. It was crazy. So I did it. And also, I wasn't a perfect student. I failed my second year. I'm not ashamed to say it. Terrible. It was the World Cup. So mom,
2010.
Philip was here. So, but your parents will always know you. I think from a kid, I was always, fascinated with the idea of entrepreneurship and, the eventing space. And, my biggest role models were just like Dr. Dre and Jay-Z and, Jimmy Iovine. And these are people that I used to have posters of. I didn't have a fucking lawyer on a fucking poster in my room.
Not Harvey
You
Specter.
magazine doesn't do that, bro. That's how old I am. I was getting posters out of You magazine.
I get it.
And Hype magazine. So, my mom hated the idea first. Because she kind of knew, like, I was just the thing out of my job. She knew, she's like, this is a job. When you come home, you don't even talk about it. You're like, this is terrible, tie off. Tie on the next day, tie off. So, towards the end of my articles, I said, look, I'm not doing this. And obviously, there's the whole conversation of, the responsibilities, your car, I said, I'll figure it out. Because I backed myself. And it's crazy, as I got older, my dad said, I'm so happy for the fact that you actually
did that
because I'm a big mommy's boy. So to disappoint my mom, I was like, oh my God. And she hated it. Yeah. To this day, my mom is like, thank God you're all making some money because I was worried. So like she comes here and she has the time of her life and she shows her friends off. Now I'm like, oh yeah. Now you're like, at 26, you were like, you were doing something else. So yeah, it's as you get older, you have to open up to your parents, understand that they're people. They still want the best for you, but their best for you isn't necessarily what you need. And I had to really back myself and back my ambition. So it was a difficult conversation, but you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
So my dad is always like, you can do whatever you want to do. What's the plan? If you don't have a plan, you kind of don't know what you want to do. So the plan is always important.
Failure to plan, prepare for failure.
Even if it's just partying.
Yeah. Because that's sorry, I want to say that's not something a lot of people like to do these days. I think guys are very scared to, as you say, you backed yourself. Where you said, I don't know how, but I'm gonna make it fucking work. Yeah. You've done the same now recently. It's such a big thing to do. It's not like you can fall back on something. You gotta, now that you've said it, you've put your word out there. You've told people you're gonna make it fucking work.
Fall back, small back.
Yeah.
Even if this were to fail today, I'm not going back to a law firm. Fuck that. It's the whole idea of fallback is, and I realized it after COVID that you're gonna figure it out. You will have to figure it out. So,
and normally you will.
Yeah, and I don't believe in. There is always a plan somewhere. If you I'm different. I said to myself, the last day I did my article, I said, these guys will draw me ever coming back here or any other law firm. And I've got a big respect for people who are practicing lawyers, but fuck that. So respectfully, with all due respect. Yeah, man, you've got to back yourself. And, and I hung out a lot around a lot of older people during that time. And I remember Ricardo telling me, like, yo, you don't have the option of failure. You might think your degree is your whatever buffer, He said, man, you are out. He's like, I will never ever picture you back in a suit. So, yeah, having that conversation was interesting, you know, but it helped my relationship with my parents moving forward because they actually viewed me as an adult, not a child.
You made your own decision as well.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know, as you know, when you have to make that bridge between being a child to being a man, you know, to tell your parents, actually, no, that's not what's best for me. And that's why I always tell people, you probably need to leave home very quickly after that. So my next goal was like, well, I know somebody gonna say it's my roof, so it's time to go find my own roof and deal with my own life.
That's
so
true.
yeah, it was an interesting conversation, but you know, they handled it well. And the first couple of years were bumpy, but
You made it work.
as you go through the journey, they start to respect what you do. Because once somebody sees that you do something in year 3, they're like, okay, this guy's decided that this is his life. And entrepreneurial headspace. After year 5, you kind of in. It's kind of weird if you go after year 5 and throw it in. So
Yeah, you can't go back after that.
Yeah,
It's
so
a little bit fucking.
that was a great question.
I mean, if you can make it to 5 years, 7 years,
Yeah.
Listen, if you can make it
You
to
are
1
there.
year, I think you're already like pushing boundaries compared to a lot of people on
Yeah, but-
entrepreneurship in that way.
but there's a statistic somewhere already.
After 5 years, you make
After
it.
5 or it was 7.
7.
7 years, you're pretty much guaranteed to make it. So stick it at the fuck out, basically, right? Here's a question. Is it really rocket science?
It's
No,
not.
I think about
it's
this
not,
often.
Yeah.
I think about it so often.
But there is science. So, you know, I hate this thing of getting older because then you start to feel less, you know,
Less what? Yes, but
Is he going to say
like-
hungry?
not less hungry. Like, I was very naive getting into business. And it's a gift and a curse because a lot of people think like, oh, you did it when you were 23, so it is easy.
no.
I was like, there are so many mistakes I should not have made. I should have taken the time to understand market research, the basics of business.
But you would never have known
Had I
to
not made a
understand
mistake.
to do market research had you not made the mistake.
I just should have opened up YouTube or something, you know?
School fees, bro.
You
Just
know-
school fees.
And those are things that when young people always ask me, like, how did you do it? I said I made a ton of mistakes. And I was never afraid of making mistakes because I always understood that when you make a mistake, there is some sort of golden line. But I'm like, you have to pay suppliers, but you're going to make it somewhere, you know?
Lesson learned.
And the brokest times are probably the times where I made the biggest strides in terms of business knowledge and education. Because I said, I never want to be here again. And that was probably our biggest growing point was after year 5. Because we're like, okay, let's leave all the fun shit. Let's do the fun shit. Let's make some good go up doing it. And, you know, you learn that as time goes on. So I always say, like, in terms of
That's when you started stashing cash. as you
stashing
said.
cash.
Yeah.
Ooh, stash that cash, guys. Don't stash too much of it. Tax man will come to you. That's another, you know, lesson for life.
Then you can watch YouTube as well.
Yeah, you've got to always seek knowledge, man. And there is, you know, a lot of knowledge in failure, but I don't recommend it. It will break your spirit if you're not, you know, strong-willed. Yeah, so I hope I just wasn't rambling there, but it was very
No,
important.
the idea makes sense, bro, because
Yeah.
as you say, you weren't afraid to make the mistakes, bro. So if you're going to just do something, then rather just do it, because as you say, you learn a little bit more when you're doing something.
Yep.
It's the same as like you got theory, and then you've got practical. When you do it yourself, you learn it a lot quicker than you reading it something in a book. I mean, what's the saying? It's somebody tells you that pot's hot. You're not going to know it's hot until you fucking touch
crazy.
it,
It's
bro.
crazy. My
It's
dad-
just the way the brain works, I think.
My dad always used to say, I'm sorry, I know.
Yeah, no,
No,
go on, bro.
go.
He said, you know, life is not like school, you know. The test comes first, then you get the lesson.
That's true. Fuck, I actually...
So
And
Mr.
if you don't,
Shangase,
if you
I will
don't
never
get the
forget
lesson,
Shout out.
that. Yeah,
I mean,
test
and that's the
comes
thing, right? If you
Yeah.
don't get the lesson, the test will keep
first.
coming.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if you don't learn that lesson. Yeah, you're right.
Here's a question.
Got you.
To what end?
It's a great question.
On what, though? Contextual.
Well,
Are we talking business, life,
answer.
everything to what end?
Whatever comes to mind.
A lot of
Where we're heading is where it comes from.
A lot of...
It's
Like, at what point?
at
Shaz.
what point
So we've spoken 23 years, 10 years, we are where we are today. And it's a great
to
fucking day.
what? That's a great question. To what end? I think business-wise, not working as hard as I do, where it's just automatic. You know, I really, you know, I love being an entrepreneur, But I wanted to be an entrepreneur for the right reasons. You know? I wanted
So you can buy time back.
I can buy time back. You know, my parents, you know, I look at my parents and I'm like, my parents worked hard to put me through all these private schools and they're only enjoying their money now. I was like, I'm not going to be that person, you know? So that is a big motivating factor. And I think, you know, outside of money is happiness. When I get to the point where I'm 100% happy, I think I'll be...
What is 100% happy to you, bro? Because what does happiness mean?
Yeah.
Because now we can
I'm on the
put this
pursuit.
apart,
I knew.
bro.
It's on the pursuit.
As soon as you said happiness, I'm like,
I knew.
it's
I
fine,
said,
bro.
you're gonna say, keep on going. I think family unit is very important to me. You know, I used to want a ton of money. I just want enough money to be comfortable. What does comfort mean? I want to be able to travel. I want to
Spend without asking.
spend without asking, not recklessly. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need 18 Ferraris, guys.
No.
At 23, you want these things, then you're like, yo, the price of petrol. But you know,
Potholes.
yeah, potholes. You know,
Speed bumps, bro.
I want to worry for nothing, and that when I say worry for nothing, I just holistically, you know, family, monetary, business-wise. You know, I'm at the point. You know, a lot of people when we were celebrating our 10 years were like, "Yo, how does this feel like?" And I'm like, I've been on the grind for 10 years. I never ever thought we'd make it here. And if you ask me what this journey feels like, I have no idea. So I had to actually take a moment to say,
Reflect, yeah.
what does this mean? Because you've been doing this for the majority of, you know.
But it's exactly what you said earlier. It's like, at what point, and this is why, I mean, this was me 3 years ago. That's why I flipping...
Cut your time.
No, I didn't cut. I just...
Well,
that's why I
yeah.
retired,
Yeah.
right? I was like, fuck
so, to what
it.
point?
What end?
Jeez, that's a deep one.
Where do you call it quits?
When do you call it quits? Call what quits? Because we still gotta, you know,
Exactly.
that's a great question, but it's a so philosophical.
People like to always say, you know, like when they retire, they just stop working. I don't think that's ever a good answer, because if you stop working, you're gonna die a lot.
You're gonna
quicker.
fall apart, as my dad would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
In-
relative. So when I did that, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you some insight in the last 3 years. The first year, I woke up and did nothing for like a full month.
Yeah.
I did, and when I say nothing,
Well,
I
you want to
woke
give
up.
Shaz context about what you did.
Okay,
Please do, I'm curious.
So context is 3-4 years ago. I and leading up to that, I was asking this question: to what end? To what end? And then I just my kids. So I got 2 boys.
Yeah.
And the second one was just born.
Yeah.
2018, end of 2018. So 2019, you start going, okay, the first kid is 17, 18. He was 2 and a bit. And, you know, when you have kids, you both will realize this, right? You'll be working, you'll come home, they'll be like, that's it.
To say quiet, like.
Yeah, like you miss shit.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
miss
yeah,
out
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and maybe it bothers you. Maybe one day it bothers you.
Yeah.
Like it happened to just cross my thoughts, and I gave it attention. Leading up to this point where I was like, okay, I just want to see more, do more with them, and see where it goes. So, to what end? Like, you don't really ever have an answer to that question. But the truth is, you don't really. But I made the decision to, just like entrepreneurship, let me try this.
Do you know? I've
So
never thought of that. I've never thought of
Take a break.
taking a break or to
I mean,
what end or
business partners disclaimer: we're not convincing you.
No.
Yeah, don't stop working.
Yeah, no. And I think that's also, you know, one thing about entrepreneurship that's super insane is that you're head down. So
Consistently, yeah.
you're always head down. I mean, even now I'm thinking about I've got to cash up something that side, but
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to work after this.
and you've got to. It's hard to put those barriers. I think it's my biggest challenge. I just as an individual since I was 23, because my biggest motivator is that this can't fail, and it becomes an obsession. So, to what end is an incredibly great question that I need to take the time, because I think I just gave you some
Yeah, bro. I
hot
mean,
takes on happiness and blah 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 fish base. The real answer to the question is that I really have no fucking idea.
and I think that's a great answer, bro.
Yeah.
So that was.
But
a
to
great
be
question.
aware, right? Like that's
To
the
be
whole
aware
thing.
is a crazy thing.
To be aware, to be present, and even now, I think this is one of our favorite, my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, this is a good fucking conversation. So
It
far.
didn't even end up being like a random business thought. This is
This
what
is-
I do
this
for a
is-
living, blah, blah, blah.
This is genuinely
that.
the least I've spoken in a podcast.
I love that.
I'm loving life right now, bro. Like seriously.
Shit. Okay,
I've
cool.
never
You guys-
spoken so little.
you guys-
Even the editors are just like, yeah.
You guys opened me up. I was like, I thought this was just going to be a random.
Yeah.
Good, great question.
I think it's also a difficult thing because I think we were speaking about it last week, is that you get to a point where now, like let's say I'm now 26. I had a certain goal to
So
reach
young,
at-
bro. Take your
Yeah,
time.
you know what I mean? I had a certain goal to reach at 25 that I set at 21. I reached that, but then you don't. When you're at 25, you're not sitting back looking at it as you should be, reflecting and saying, "I'm here. I've done what I said I'm going to do." You're already looking at what's the next goal, what's the next step. So that's To what end is where you got to be like, okay, the next step is to just
be.
call it.
Okay, so
kind
here's
of call
one,
it
right?
quits and work on a project. Right?
Call it quits as a,
Yeah, no, call it quits, not so much. Like, keep it exciting is my
Yeah.
question, right?
Keep the salary
This
from
is one thing that came up for me. Is I would only accept, and through the last years, I've done talks, and I've done shit. We've made movies.
Yeah.
I went back. We set ourselves on
I was gonna say,
fire.
yeah, we lit you on
I'm
fire.
just doing
Yeah,
things
I'll
that-
send you the video. We lit him on fire, bro, fully.
Please can you like just edit this into this episode quickly? Like that's crazy.
It will be on the screen.
Shit.
So the question is, get involved in ventures that make money. This is what I came to realize, that number one is exciting for me. So it's like point 1A in a legal contract. Exciting that you want to be there, that when you're spending the time, you actually wouldn't be anywhere else. If you can tick those questions with whatever the hell you do.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's either that or, because 100% of the time, I would always want to spend time with my kids, my family. Cool. So if something else is going to take that time,
It must be
does it
invested.
tick those boxes?
Must be invested
And
in
then
it.
we can rock and fucking roll. That,
Yeah.
But people who are under 30, go work.
Yeah.
We're telling you these things because we've gone through a lot of ebbs and flows, as they would call it. Go to corporate. I always, you know what's crazy?
I did 4 years in corporate before I started my
As I get older, and I feel like I'm becoming my dad, and it's the scariest thing for me because I always think I'm cutting edge, right?
And you watch it.
Do you know, like, the best advice? Because I met all my colleagues in varsity, right? And I meet a lot of young people who don't have a community or built a community, or meet a lot of people. I'm like, guys, varsity is so important, and I never thought I'd become this person. That building communities, whether it's varsity, whether it's, you know, whatever tertiary institution or higher learning, because you never know who you're going to meet, right? And knowledge seeking is sometimes not textual. It's just about hanging around, you know, getting knowledge random places.
Like
and
today.
I never thought I'd be that guy. I always be like, you know what? Well, fuck school. It's so weird for me to try to say that. But I met everybody I work with through that environment. And I see a lot of people who struggle to make, we had to say, friends at a young age because they're super cliquey. They don't, you know, maybe varsity's changed since I was in varsity. They don't have a lot of life experiences.
Yeah,
you know, that
that's
are,
true.
You know, I hate to say it, but, you know, I was on Vitsili Bugger bus and then watching rugby, randomly going to lectures, going to engineers' breakfast. These are things that
You were living, bro.
I was living.
You were living.
And I never thought I'd be that guy. That's so weird. And then corporate. You've got to get to a point where you understand what you hate to love something. It's so strange. I never thought I'd be
That's
that
a
guy.
beautiful way to say it, bro. Fuck.
Because it was a day I was sitting and I was doing my articles and I had no work, but I had to be there 8 to 5. For 8 hours, I just cruised through YouTube. You'll find an end to YouTube at some point in some dark shit. And I said, I can't live like this.
You're down the
And
rabbit hole.
I'm becoming my dad. It's so wild. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Yes, guys, I'm here. You've opened me up.
Dude, that's I agree with you having to go through corporate. And so I did a year of studying.
Yes.
Wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. The reason why is because I enjoyed making money and doing things. I hated being fucking poor. Like I had no money
Great
to go do
motivator.
things. Yeah, you know, I
Great
hated
motivator.
that shit. I used to make money in school doing my thing. I used to throw parties. I
Yeah,
used to do this
I
and that. So
remember.
I had the money going, bro.
Yeah.
Now, Then I went to go work straight away. I worked corporate 4 years straight, bro. And to where I am now.
That's the danger.
Yeah.
As my mom would always say.
Yeah.
My mom forced me not to, and I wanted this Red Bull job so bad. I wanted to be an SBM so bad.
Yeah.
Mom said, if you dare start working in the varsity, you're not going to finish. And I know so many people who
No, you're right. I didn't finish shit, bro.
Shit.
Yeah.
She was right and I hate it.
Yeah, it is the worst because I left there and I said, cool, I'm going to study online.
Yeah.
So that I can still finish a degree.
Yeah.
And work at the same time because I can't be doing. I had like 3-4 classes a day. There were a couple hours, and what must I do with the rest of my day? I was bored. You know what I mean?
Just end up binge drinking.
And I was in Pretoria, bro. Which you know what I mean. So it was even the worst kind of thing. Now, after leaving the corporate and now doing the water and stuff like that. Okay, now it's actually coming up next week's 4 years that I'm now doing that on my own as well. And I've learned so much different things from doing entrepreneurship.
Yep.
You learn a lot more responsibility, in my opinion.
100%.
Like when I was back at where I was working at Renault, I mean, like I learned a lot from the people around me. You know, like I saw also what I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. I saw people hating their lives coming into work. It was like a fucking schlep for them every day. I used to come in with a nice attitude because I feel like that's how you should have your day. You should have a good attitude about your day. Not every day, it doesn't always work. You know, when you got that hangover, you're still 21, coming through from a party on a Thursday. But now after doing after now doing my own thing for 4 years, like I still send it. I still like to party, bro. I love a good fucking time.
I love me a good old Joe, don't I?
Oh yes,
like
bro,
the
a good
best
old razzle. Oof. But it's a lot less in between now compared to then because you got the responsibilities.
Yeah, like I love partying here, but I have so many regrets in the morning. So,
Especially if you've got work the next morning.
Exactly, and I work, you know,
every day nearly.
Entrepreneur, you work every day.
Yeah, you are working every day.
Yeah, so you've got to find balance, man, and it's the hardest thing to do. To understand that, because for a very long time, and I thank my girlfriend for that, I was addicted to what I did. It became everything. Like I just wanted to work, and I would party and work at the same place, and I would have fun where I work, and I'd have dinner where I work.
There was no change.
And then eventually I was like, this is becoming strange now. And you have to train yourself out of that, you know, as an entrepreneur, not to be obsessive.
And yet it's a skill, though.
It is.
So everyday struggle, man. I want to be honest.
I mean, I believe obsession is required to an extent.
To gain certain
But you've
success.
got to be able to switch it off, man.
No, of course. But I mean, I'm sitting here, you guys talking about a good old razzle.
A good old
I'm like, you non-married motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't be the guy. I am not the guy who's going to account for your marriage. You said, what did you say on the show? The views expressed in that last line are his and his alone. So being obsessive about my job. But I think, you know, you asked me a question like at the beginning. I think the one thing I am is grateful for what I have. You know, because as difficult and as toiling and as, you know, every day, you know, I'm really grateful that I don't hate my life. My car's paid off. I live a very comfortable life. And those are the things outside of your pure ambition. Because sometimes ambition is a blinding light. You know?
It's a pain in the arse.
And you never get to just take a moment and say, oh, hectic, my life not that bad. It's kind of cool. You know, I get to go around past podcast and they want my opinion about shit. So it's
That's true.
so it's been a great, you know, in my reflection of this past 10 years and working one with my friends, as difficult as it's been. It's grateful because, you know, I was talking about my one colleague, Mahle, to just my brother, and I was like, it's crazy. She never ever had to go through the corporate structures that we had to go through, you know, and it was one of our goals. Like, you know, people don't have to toil and, you know, learn all these things that we had to learn because they're painful and sometimes they break people, you know.
Yeah, if you're not strong.
So she never had to work the traditional sense of corporate. She worked a very fucking corporate job. You know, sometimes our shit is corporate. You will see us in suits and stuff.
Yeah.
But she never had to go through that. And it's probably, as our business, one of our biggest success. She's such a maverick and titan in this industry. And those are my success stories. You know, those are, when I talk about legacy, you know.
I think you're starting to answer that question. To
What
what end?
Yeah. You know, to our, you know, my, you know, other colleague, Sia, she came through a whole program and she got a lot of corporate offers after, doing that. She was probably our real first intern. And then when she got picked up by a corporate, I said, I think we're onto something. And they called us for a reference. They're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Shangase. I was like, oh, okay, we're onto something.
Yeah.
So to what end? I'm slowly getting to that, but I think those are my successes. And, outside of money and stuff like that, those are the things that I will use as my benchmarks and my goals and my success stories. Everything else is whatever.
That's beautiful, because that comes exactly back to what we were saying last week about what a man should be. And it straight up came to it's giving. Just giving. Providing for others, as you're providing opportunities, you're providing knowledge. Yeah. This and that.
It's weird. I'm
The
OG
truth is,
now.
the more you give, the more you get, right?
I'm OG. I've lost all my hair. It's crazy. And Ricardo told me, he said, watch. I used to have a full head of hair.
Really?
Can't
I don't remember you having
I'll
hair,
send
bro.
you a picture that you can just go and you put it down here. And you'll be like, can you imagine? And also I think, being grateful is because I've lost a lot of people in this business, that I really idolized, starting from people like Rick, all the way to like this year with Keenan and Teebs, Teebs I grew up with. And when he passed away, I was like, oh, this shit is not forever, and I really have to take the time to pause.
And they were all very shocked, bro.
All
very shocked.
And these are people like, outside of their personas, you grow up around.
Especially Rick, bro. For me, that one was like the first, and it just hit
For me, it was so many dimples. Yeah. So these are like people like I really grew up around, that I had like personal relationships with, outside of them being business mentors and, people that, work closely with. And it's done. And then you're like, whoa.
Just like that,
That's scary. So that also forced me to reflect and RIP to them. So those type of legacies and those type of thought starters are very, it's crazy. Sorry, I just went deep in my head. Let's move forward.
But truly, I think you said it on the podcast that we had with you. What, forces a man or just a person to reflect and, kind of change their ways if they're in a bad way is something tragic or something rough happens.
Yeah, and
it's very out of the fucking
blue. And you
blue.
hope it's not.
Because it pushes you to do, but now.
Well, that's one of two ways. That was the whole
one
point.
of two ways.
Is you either grateful and you realize this enough to
You're
make
aware
your
of it,
change, or life is gonna
teach you that lesson.
It's usually in big change.
Tell you guys, sorry to interrupt.
Tell us.
This was fucking insightful. Thank you. I learned so much about myself. I thought this was going to be like a run-of-the-mill podcast thing. I thought I was going to talk about the history of Until, and we've been doing this. And I was like, you guys really got into some really meaty things. I really love that. That's crazy.
Well, thank you for opening up.
That's
bro.
fucking,
So it makes the best conversation.
You still have me for some time, guys.
We normally come up with topics and then we just, if it does go there, it goes there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We just move on with it.
That was crazy. I mean, I think because of these milestones that we've hit, having the ability to, have open conversations and not traditional. Journalists, stop being traditional. Stop asking the things from Instagram. The answers are there. I started this business 10 years ago.
You can watch that podcast somewhere else.
I do events. Can find those answers in You Magazine. Not just You Magazine. Shout out to You Magazine.
You magazine's still out.
Yeah, I think it's just Heesgenoot now, which is weird.
Yeah, you isn't a thing anymore. No, you're right.
I was born in 1990, guys, so there's a lot of things that I know about.
1990. Yes,
don't make me
both
that
you
old.
1990.
Yeah, 1990.
Yeah, we still had Heat magazine there.
Yeah, FHM.
97.
Real misogynist content.
Oh, bro.
Anything else, guys?
We have a couple quick fire questions for you, bro.
Let's go.
Okay.
This is part of the format.
Well, this is a new thing we're trying, bro. Truly.
Let's go.
If you had to fight any celebrity, who would you fight in a boxing match?
That's crazy. Can I pause? I work in this industry. I think I could take Steve Hoffman.
I wasn't expecting Steve Hoffman.
Who's the other Afrikaans dude?
Good Darren.
Captain.
Captain.
I think me and Captain could go 12 rounds. I think it'll be entertaining. Everybody else, you have a pass. You have a pass, I don't have to take you.
Yes.
Captain, yeah.
Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're going to set up a bout, bro. So that's now who you're going to fight, bro.
Don't tell him that, man. That's right. What did that guy say in the South African guy who just won the UFC fight?
Drukkus.
Bry meat and pap.
I don't need
Good Darren. I'm just joking, Steve Hoffman. Don't sue us. Nobody needs to get the rights to the fight. I was just playing. I don't want to find any celebrity. Yes. Next fire question.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ooh, traditional vanilla. Hate it. Hate to say it. Traditional vanilla never goes wrong.
Chocolate sauce?
Traditional
Sheepers.
vanilla. Maybe a flake. That's how old you know. I am.
Maybe a flake.
I don't
good
even
flake,
like
eh?
flake.
Yeah, they do. They do. I saw it the other day.
But they're the worst now. You open it and it just fucking falls
Like a
apart,
soft
bro.
serve, like a.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this before we came.
Yeah,
bro.
do they still have the trucks? The
Yeah.
combis?
They got
Every
them.
now and then,
They
bro.
got them.
Traditional vanilla. I'm not like I love me some Haagen-Dazs, but that's because I just like nice things. But if it was all said and done, give me vanilla with a flake.
Done.
Time or money?
Time.
All day, eh?
And that's only because of the stuff I was telling you about people, relationships. If I could go back and spend a lot of time with, like, you know, those people I grew up around, I'd appreciate it more. Money comes and goes. Time, fucked. Never able to pause it. Time. Great question.
And last one?
3 non-negotiables.
Ooh, in business or in life?
In life.
Life.
Oof, tough
Life
question.
is
Tougher question.
business for the people around you.
I think I'm gonna have to compartmentalize this this question. Non-negotiables. Oof, respect. I really believe as a basic fundamental respect. I think respect is the one that really
Stood out there.
stood out.
It is very important.
Non-negotiables. Yeah, those, you know, we've got to respect each other. Out of a lot of other things, I think everything else I wanted to say falls under that category. I think it covers things like race, time, you know, work ethic, all of this stuff. Respect for what you do, yourself, others. I'm a big respect guy, because there's always a question that, you know, people try to ask me: is it loyalty or respect? You'll never have the loyalty without the respect. So respect is always the trump. So can I leave it there? I feel like I've got.
Yeah, that's
got
good,
it
bro.
there.
That's good. That's good.
I like that fire. You got not two more? McDonald's or Nandos, guys?
Oh, no, I was going to ask you. What was I going to ask you?
McDonald's or
McDonald's
Burger
or
King?
Nandos?
Yes.
Burger
Sure, that's
King.
a wild one. I would have gone McDonald's or KFC.
McDonald's or Nandos.
Oh,
Burger
McDonald's
King.
or Nandos? It depends, bro.
Burger
It depends
King.
on the context
Cop
when
out.
you eat, bro. Cop out.
It's a cop out. Give me a Nandos every day. Goat.
Yeah, okay. Nandos is never.
No, you
never
go
shared.
Nandos or Pedros.
That's a
Nandos.
political question.
No, Nandos.
It's a
Nandos.
political
Has to be
question.
Nandos. It's the same formula, but just because you pay more, it has to taste better.
Yeah, Nandos. But Pedros is
Pedros is
coming
good,
through.
Pedros is good. Pedros
Last
is
one,
good.
guys? Anything else?
Wait, hold on. Nike or Adidas?
That's such an easy question. It's definitely Nike because Jordan's there, guys.
Okay, so is Jordan your goat?
Of course, all time.
Okay.
It's like Ronaldo or Messi. It's definitely Ronaldo.
There we
Unfortunately.
go.
Man,
There
this
we
is
go.
what a way to end this podcast. I'm so happy, guys. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Where can we find you on the socials,
Oh,
bro?
wow, hectic. You make me feel like a celebrity. My name
You
is-
kind of are, bro.
My name is Sandile. I just have a cool job. My name is Sandile Shangase. You can find me on Instagram at ShazLNS. You can find me on Twitter at ShazLNS. You can find me on LinkedIn as Sandile Shangase if you're looking for some corporate shit. Outside of that, you can find us at until_ZA for all, you know, until related matters, and then The Royale ZA on Instagram. And if you want to book, the number's there. Don't DM their account. Sounded so corporate on that.
Perfect, bro. Anything from you, Tendo?
No,
We all good?
fantastic conversation.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you guys. I actually wanted to thank you guys. That was outside of, you know, the business related stuff. That was a very insightful, you know, conversation. This is clearly what it takes to be a modern man. These are such dope, insightful conversations. So you guys are really on the right path.
Thank you.
Keep at it, please, guys. Yeah, this was fucking dope.
Thank you, bro. Thank
Got
you.
you.
Guys,
Signing out.
yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of The Modern Man. Ciao.
Reaction initiated. Incoming message. The Modern Man Podcast.